We're alive. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Pie Talks. I am your guest hostess, one of your guest hostess. I am Marike. I am the visionary of Pie Pathways Inspiration, as well as Purifications International Enterprise. Alongside me tonight, we always have our butterflies. We have Rashini and we have Asia with us tonight. And so tonight, we were going to do a part two of introducing our web page. However, something much more important has come up, and something that I myself didn't even realize what was going on in my own hometown. And so, number one, I will openly admit that my demographics were off and they were wrong. They were outdated. My information was outdated. And I didn't really know until 2 days ago when I had the ability to go sit with a family who just lost their child. And this little girl, this precious little girl who is 12 years old, her name is Jewel. And I know her mom and her dad not as much as some people that I love, like my niece, who are really intertwined with this family, Jewel being her goddaughter, her son, my great nephew, Julius, watching him crumble because this was his first little baby. You know, when you're the baby and you get a baby, when you're finally big enough to babysit and be a. So this was his and was named after him, Jules, Juju. And so I'm navigating somebody that I know, an acquaintance, with family that I know, in all of the devastation that's going on, and trying to wrap my head around the fact that a beautiful 12-year-old child is no longer with us. And as I was sitting there at the kitchen table, there's a young woman that lives there that's their cousin. I call her the sister cousin because she lives in the house with the family. So it's like, a sibling and a cousin all together. And her name is Bella. Most intelligent little girl. And before she told me she had a 3.8 GPA, I could tell just by her conversation, right? But what she began to tell me, I couldn't believe what my ears were hearing. She told me about the level of abuse and bullying that she herself goes through and has endured. But when she looked at me and said, "But what I've gone through is nothing compared to what Jewel had been going through." You see, these little girls invited her, and we're talking about 12-year-olds. These little girls invited her to a sleepover one night up the street in New Hampshire in a little mansion where they all proceeded to jump on her and make her have to beat everybody, fight everybody. Where were the adults? I haven't yet to see the video, but they videotaped it and they put it online. And they say the last person, which was the biggest girl, as Jewel was walking out the door, slams her in the face. And this baby girl ends up walking home from New Hampshire to our hometown of Haverhill. It's a good little walk at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not quite sure of all the details, but I know that there's a videotape of them doing this, and nothing was done. There was no repercussions for the kids. There was nothing done. The things that she was going through on a daily basis through other children. It's horrible. And so, if that wasn't enough, 2 weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, when I was getting my hair done, that young lady I was talking to told me about her daughter being going through bullying. Another child, 10, 11 years old. If that wasn't enough, these little kids that bullied her got online and they're online talking about her, talking about the ops is dead. Then they came by and they threw eggs at the memorial and the kids that were standing at the memorial. And then, if that wasn't enough, here's the yard. Here's literally the fence to the playground. The yard where the family's having the memorial, the fence to the playground. Next thing you know, you see a swarm of kids just stomping kids out. Somebody out. Somebody from the memorial realized it's the family members. It's the other little kids of the family. People start hopping the fence. People are running up around the corner. The police are there, though, on the corner. It took them forever to get into the park. So now the family's mourning. These same bullies are being disrespectful online, and they're egging the thing, and now they're jumping family members during this memorial, this time from 12 to 8. At 8 o'clock, we finally go up the street to where the memorial is to light the candles and do the balloons. Now the kids are in the park. And then somebody says, okay, we're going to the park, I guess to let the balloons up because there was trees around us where the memorial is. So everybody starts walking toward the park. The kids jump on their bikes and start to drive, get out of there because they don't know if we're coming after them from what happened earlier or whatever where their minds are. But when they realize that that's not what's happening and everybody's going to the park, they turn around and they start coming back toward where the family is. I'm watching them. So I place my candle down and I'm watching them. And I give my balloon to a little girl who's walking toward me. Doesn't have a balloon. Here, take the balloon. And I take out my camera and I start walking toward them. I'm no longer paying attention because what's not going to happen is you're not going to step near where these people are. I've had enough. So I got my camera and I'm videoing. I'm walking straight to them. What are you doing video? Okay, what do you? I said, because you're a bunch of punks. I said, y'all want to play gang gang? And I won't say what else I said because I was livid and I was on my last nerve. And, immediately the two boys of color that were in there came up and were like, we're sorry. We're like, back up. I'm like, y'all but back up. And I'm going home. And all I keep thinking about was what is going on with our youth? That they lack so much compassion. These aren't 16-year-olds. They're not 14-year-olds. They're 12 and 13 and maybe 14. And so you have a family really hurting. I said, I don't know, maybe y'all can talk to me because even back in my days when I used to have a little rumble, if somebody passed away, I don't care who it was, everybody paid respect to it. Like we're not in like the inner city out here. You know what I'm saying? It might be a lot different in the inner city, but I'm from the suburbs. So I'm just like, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. What is your experience and what do you see in your communities? What's going on with the youth? We're always talking about 18 and over, and up. But do you see what's going on with the real smaller babies? Because what I'm seeing and what I seen yesterday, and I live in the suburbs, I can only imagine what it's like in the inner city. And it might also be too because I do live in the suburbs, so they're trying to put the extra tens on it, what they see, this black culture. Like Raj and I were talking about earlier, everybody wants to emulate black culture, but they want to emulate the ghetto ratchetness of the culture. You know, nobody wants to emulate the well, that's not true. I said nobody wants to emulate the spiritual black people, but that's not true either. Not true at all. But anyways, at least our kids, for the majority. But Raj or Asia, y'all a little bit closer to the situation. What do y'all think?
It's actually kind of sad for me because seeing that I don't work in the schools anymore, I feel pretty disconnected from it. Um, but I could only imagine because when I was in the school systems, this was 6 years ago, pre-COVID. Um, I had my experiences, of the kids kind of being out of control, and I witnessed it and things of that nature. But now, fast forward post COVID, and the world being more what it is, and then we just have, you know, 6 years ago, I had the kids who were graduating 6 years ago or now were what, like, say they're seniors now. They might have been what, sixth grade, fifth, fourth, fifth, sixth grade then. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so just thinking about what has become popular since then, in these last 6 years, and what has, the baddies and the, um, different songs and just mentalities. It's like, and actually, the experience that I have had recently that I've referenced has been my younger cousin, that's going into high school this year. And, she's pretty well behaved, but still, I see the things that she's into, and the music and, um, kind of again the stories that I've heard when I was doing her hair, and we're just kind of talking with her. And I think it kind of starts with the lack of accountability, the lack of repercussions for them.
Yes.
um, and I can say from my experience of, like, when I, in the schools, it's like when someone breaks a rule or is being disrespectful, or not, what, not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then you send them to the office, and then the office calls home, and then home there's no reinforcement. So there's no consequence for them, for real. So they just continue to do what they want to do. Then compound outwards, then you get the people who graduate and can't aren't good employees, or they're not good. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of layered, um I don't want to say issues, but layers to the yeah, there's layers to it.
Yeah.
There's consequences.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Asia,
Mm,
you have anything to say?
you know me. I don't. Uh, I need time to prepare for stuff like this. I don't really have anything to say. I mean, I kind of dealt with a similar situation when I was in school. It was in high school. Um, it wasn't bullying necessarily, but it was peer pressure related.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost one of my really close friends to her getting peer pressured, and it was laced, and it was just not a good time for
Yeah.
that specifically. So, I mean, I've dealt with my fair share of getting bullied in
Yeah.
school growing up, um, but I also learned how to work around that. Um, in my elementary school, they created a group because I was getting bullied,
Mm-hmm.
and they had other young black girls in that group that was going through similar situations. So
And how did that help? Did it help you? Did you feel as though it helped the situation?
I felt though, I felt as it helps because it wasn't necessarily predominantly black schools, mixed of all races. So
Mm-hmm.
just having a group of young girls similar to my age because I was terrible at making friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it just helped us to get in that, helped me to be in that environment. And we are all still friends to this day and age. So
Yeah, that's Asia. That's exactly what we want to be, right?
yep.
And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I can't wait for people to really see what it is that we're doing, so we can train, so we can actually get us into the community. And with that being said, I want to say, when did we stop parenting and just deciding, well, the police will deal with the bad kids. Well, the courts will deal with the bad kids. Um, not every child that's out there making stupid decisions is coming from a broken home. Some of them are just like, for example, myself, right? I didn't have a broken home. My dad was just too daggone strict. He was just like too daggone strict. And it was just ridiculous. You know what I mean? So it's not always that somebody's, being beat or tortured at home, by their parents. There were other things going on that my parents didn't know about. So it's not always just the parents' fault. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes kids, we peer pressure, what we're easily influenced by the things that we're watching, other people are watching, other situations. So it's not necessarily always what's going on at home. But this is also why it took a village. This is also why other adults in the community had the right to say, hey, what is you doing? Hey, no, 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 we're not doing that. And so we collectively have taken the parenting and tossed it out the window. The collective parenting in the community, the village, and we've tossed it out the window. And nobody's now with the kids. And now we're just like, well, let the police deal with them. But for our community, especially brown, black, Indian, uh, we should be wanting to come back into the community because we know that when the police get a hold of them, it doesn't make the situation better. It actually makes them worse. So
Yeah.
once
So,
the in the system, from juvenile hall to the prison, juvenile hall ain't but a little prison, and they act the same way, same mentality. They're doing the same thing. They're raping, they're beating, they're doing the same stuff that they're doing in the big prisons in the juvenile hall. It does not make no sense. So reform, the American reform, does not work, and we know that it does not work. But so why do we sit around and continue to sit in the, oh, they'll no, damn it, it's our communities. It is our communities. And this is why the Bloods was started. This is why the Crips was started. This is why the Black Panthers were started. They were not started to shoot and to kill each other. They were started because we needed protection in the community, and we needed programs in the community. We needed things for our kids in the community because we weren't getting them. And we were also tired of the police brutality. But the government turned around and infiltrated every last one of them like they do. And now we have what we have today. And we stopped coming into the community as a community. And if we want our communities back, these are kids. Are you kidding me? These are kids. What are we waiting for? Who are we waiting for? There are enough parents that are home during the day to infiltrate, to come out into the community and post up. Listen, $62,000 a year it costs to house somebody in the prison. 32,000, at least out here, 32,000 for mental health. What could you do instead to pour that back into the community and actually have adults come back into the community? Like I said, the ones that are home anyway and need something constructive to do besides watching TV and all the drama on TV, to take them in and to bring them into what we do, community restoration, train them up and bring them back into the community. Because although we focus on African American women in the diaspora, the blueprint works for every single community. So it's not about waiting for somebody else. And even if the government didn't, imagine if we came together, how much you didn't have to pay for daycare. If we utilize the community and take shifts and do the things and do it properly and man back and take back the community, all we got to do is adults got to get back up in the community and then create constructive things for the kids to do that they're going to want to do. Let's put up some music studios. They love music, and then let's give them a blueprint. In order to come in to listen to the studio, this is what you got to do. You got to have this many assignments done. You have to have this type of a conduct. You can talk about what you want to talk about and what you're going through, but you cannot talk about harming or hurting anybody. You cannot disrespect anybody. But you can tell your story, because there's a way that you can tell your story without harming and hurting other people, and we teach them that. And what does that do? That takes our music back. That brings literature back. Listen, people need to come on over here and understand we can't move until the people get here. I can't do anything until the community comes together. We're not like any other organization. We actually are the community, rebuilding the community. And the only way that we're successful is when the community comes in and gets trained and goes back out to the community. That's exactly what we're doing. And I've asked, what more can we do? We're on every Monday. We're sending out things. We're at events. I'm at events. I'm here. I'm there. And so now, because I'm like, okay, every Sunday at 4 o'clock, I'll be at the park. Those who want to come out, come out. I don't care who you are. Come out, because it is time for us to come back into the community, the adults. We cannot be scared to come back into the community. And I do understand that every community, and there's some places on the block that you just can't walk up into. Unarmed, unprotected, whatever. But this is why the community got to get together. That there's not that many gangs when you look at all of the other people that are doing right things, and even all the spiritual militias that are out there. The gangs are not the biggest population that we have. In every community, again, it starts with us where we want to, because that's us, but every community has gangs. The Asians got gangs, the uh, Latinos got gangs, everybody got gangs. So everybody need to come out the house and get back into their community, because the black people shouldn't be over there trying to handle or regulate the Mexican gangs or the white gangs or anybody but the black gangs. I'm sorry it's segregation, but it must be, because you can't bring another gang in. You can't bring other people into the black gang, the Asian, and be like, hey, y'all put them guns down, right? You can't do it. I can't go into the Mexican, I can't go into the Dominicans, I can't go into these other places and say, hey, put the guns down and stop the BS. So it has to go back to the people from that race to stand the hell up and come together and say, this is what we're going to do, and put the plan in motion and get back into the streets and take back over the streets. Because here's the thing, those kids are only there because they're hurting. They're only there because they're looking for family. They're looking for somebody to say, I got you. No matter what goes down, I got you. And because they feel like these other little kids or whoever's taking them into this gang is the one that is there for them, that they're giving them their loyalty. So won't they give us their loyalty too if we come in and actually do and teach them business and actually make sure they can eat, and help them wash their clothes and feed and learn stuff, and take their heads and take their minds back and show them genuine true love? And we know that it works. And we know that it works. So that's it for tonight, y'all. This tonight was just a little. Last week I said it was going to be a short show, and we stayed on a long time. But tonight, um, there's really nothing more to say. Then meet me at the park. And if you're not in Massachusetts, if you're not in Haverhill, DM me. Let's get some virtual things going, because we have a lot of solutions. We don't have all the answers, but we definitely have some solutions. And here's the thing, we know that it works because it's how we've been living our lives. And so we invite y'all, because listen, nobody else is going to come. These are our children. They are 12 and 10 out here having babies, hurting each other. Something has to be done. And we know that true love covers. And it is work. But if we do it, it will not take very long. And then every child, don't have to worry about getting beat up and being stomped. Oh, you should have seen the bruises on these babies, because they light. They mixed kids. One was just all white, the other one was mixed. And they stomped out black and blue. I said, tomorrow, which is today, y'all are gonna feel worse. And you're gonna have even more pain because the adrenaline's gonna be gone, you know? And trying to help them out. And some of these parents need help. And that's another thing. We get in there and help. I will help the mothers. The butterflies will help the next set. And then you have Asia, who's there closer, and the younger. So we got everybody that can help everybody. Come on, y'all. We can do this. And we need to do this. And Pi is here to do this. And we are looking to train 300 women. I said Massachusetts. I don't care where y'all from. 300 women. Let's go. Because our babies are dying and they're hurting, and mothers and fathers are hurting, and people are hiding in houses over our children. I'm Marie K. This is Pi. That's Rajani. That's Asia. And we're here to serve. We love y'all. We'll see you next week. Have a beautiful rest of your week from my heart to yours. See you later.